Hi everyone and welcome to my show. I just wanted to move on now to another article which is about Perrottet. So Dominic Perrottet, for those of you who may not know, is the Premier of our largest populated state, New South Wales, and he's up for re-election in a few months' time, I believe. And there's been some criticism of Perrottet because back in when he was about 21, he dressed up in a Nazi uniform and attended a party. Now, before I talk about this, I just need to highlight the fact that, well, I don't need to highlight it, I guess I need to talk about it for the first time. I've done some stupid things in my life, really stupid things, for which I'm pretty embarrassed. You know, I think I still do some stupid things today, which still embarrasses me. We all do stupid things. And Perrottet did something that was stupid. It was a long time ago. Clearly didn't think about the repercussions that it would have. Didn't have a crystal ball. Didn't know he was going to be Premier of New South Wales at some point. And as a result, this stuff has come to bite him in the arse. Now, I can remember back when I was in my early 20s, back in the early 70s, I dressed up as black and white minstrel and went to a party and thought that was quite novel. I don't think I didn't give it any thought about any racial overtones in relation to it, because back then society was pretty ignorant about all that stuff, and I particularly was extremely ignorant, embarrassed about it now to think about it. So we've all done stupid things. Let's admit to that. Not one of us really can say that we've gone through life in such a perfect and harmonious way that we are exempt from any form of criticism about any of our past behaviours, because we all, to some extent, have acted probably pretty badly. In relation to Perrottet, he made a mistake, and as I say, didn't know what the repercussions were going to be about because he didn't have a crystal ball. So in this particular article, it's written by someone I could say was probably a friend of his, who is Jewish, and who is trying to spread an appropriate or inappropriate, depending on which way you want to read it, view of what Perrottet did. It says, as you have likely heard by now, shocking news broke on Thursday when New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet admitted that he chose to wear a Nazi uniform at his 21st birthday party back in 2003. Doesn't seem all that long ago to me, it's funnily enough. Immediately after his mea culpa, he apologised for his terrible mistake. Perrottet apologised to anyone who has been hurt with Nazi party costume. His New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet says it was a mistake to wear a Nazi uniform at his 21st birthday party and apologises to anyone who had been hurt. The question on the minds of so many is, where to from here? So what do we do with this revelation? What are we to make of this disturbing episode, factoring that the modern day Perrottet is a staunch supporter of Jews and the state of Israel? And then the article goes on to further support Perrottet's perspective of the world in relationship, particularly to the Jewish people. There's a follow-up article on this, which I think is also worth noting, because we need to work out where has this come from and why has this become such an issue. And the answer is apparently quite simple. So here it is. Nazi hit, Liberals can't stop the rot. So this is about the decline of the Liberal Party, the structure and internal debasement of the Liberal Party's New South Wales division is on full display. Whatever hope the coalition had of retaining power in New South Wales must surely have evaporated, not necessarily because of Dominic Perrottet's historical offence, but the forces at work that compelled him to admit it. So clearly we can hide some of this stuff, and fair enough, because it sits so far back in our past. So why was it brought to the forefront in this instance? There is little doubt among the among the Premier's colleagues that this was an internal hit on the party leader. So before we had an example where it seemed to be evident that there were issues in relation to the reasons why he did it, and someone comes up who happens to be Jewish who justifies it, which is fine, more than entitled to do that. There is this other issue, which is how did it happen, why did it happen, and who constructed this and wanted to cause some embarrassment. There are three likely motivations: petty personal revenge, a broader factional hit from a splinter group of the right peeved at pre-selections, aimed to undermine his leadership, or retaliation. Now this is the one I love, retaliation from the gaming lobby in response to his proposed reforms. Now this is important to note, is that he was looking for ways to limit gaming machines so that he could deal with the epidemic, which is problem gambling in New South Wales. As a result of that, the hospital lobby, or those people that have got a vested interest in gaming, have come out attacking him. Now the best way to attack somebody is through their past, if you can find anything, and clearly in this instance they have, and they've decided that it was Perrottet's past, dressing up as a Nazi when he was 21, that was the appropriate target. It goes on to say in this article, personality cults that have run the party like a fiefdom appear to be actively penning the Perrottet government's obituary with no thought or care to the broader consequences. And that's the way it is, because there's every likelihood now that Perrottet will lose that election. By doing so, it will mean that every state and territory in Australia is governed by a Labor government, and this would put Labor in a pejorative position, which will mean eventually that they'll be able to determine what the narrative is based on each government in that state, whether it be a state election or whether it be a federal election. The power and authority will rest with the government. So it is important for the Liberals in New South Wales to maintain that particular government as a Liberal government. However, it is becoming less and less likely that that can be the case, because in this instance, the Liberal Party themselves has turned back on themselves to diminish Perrottet in such a way that particularly the gaming lobby will come out in front, and they will make sure that he doesn't get elected, or that he gets kicked out as the Liberal Party leader in that state, and they appoint somebody that's more appropriate, or at least will not do the things that he'd planned to do. So that is what's happening with regard to Perrottet. I think that's an interesting twist in that particular story. If you want to contact me, please go to my website, which you can now see. You can email me at this particular address. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which no doubt most people will be, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, ring the bell so that you can get further notifications, and so that we can have more of these conversations in the future. I'm trying to do as many as I can, and I would love to be able to have these conversations with you as well. So thanks everybody for being with me. Take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.